All right, I'm going to give you a would you rather question today.
Okay.
Would you rather have BO all the time but not know it, or be able to smell everybody else's BO all the time?
Oh, gross. Ew. Okay. I think I'd rather smell everyone else's BO, because I feel like if people weren't near me, I'd be like, why do I smell? Like, why aren't people like wanting to be near me? Like, what's happening? Like, if I didn't know I didn't smell, how could I solve the problem?
I knew you were going to say this for two reasons. One, because you care about other people more than you care about yourself. So you'd rather not offend them with your smell.
That's disgusting.
The other reason I knew you were going to say that is because you are always... always.
And then, like, this shirt, there's no way I can wear this longer for upstairs. I will have sweat stains.
Yeah. So I knew. You're very conscious of your pits.
I'm very conscious of my pits. So
I'm way more selfish with you than you are. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, ignorance is bliss. I mean, I don't want to smell, but if I smell and I don't know it...
You don't know it.
But I'd rather that than smell everybody else's nasty BO.
I want to let you know.
Yeah.
If you had BO all the time, like, I would tell you.
Thank you.
So this way you wouldn't have to be in the dark about it. I would totally shed light on that so you could solve the problem.
It's the definition of love.
Definition of love right there. Letting someone know they have BO. You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Imperfect Marriage. My name is TJ.
I'm Jennifer.
And this podcast exists so that we can give you biblical, practical help, not for a perfect marriage, but for a marriage that's full of love, joy, purpose, and
fun.
So what we got today?
Okay, so first of all, if you find this video helpful or you feel it encouraging, don't forget to like, share, or subscribe it with someone. We've had a lot of awesome people sharing this on their Facebook page and stuff. Just really sharing it out to a wide group of people, and that's been like amazing. So thank you for your love and support. We love that. So today we are talking about financial freedom. Freedom. Is that a song?
It is
Freedom. That's a song.
I feel like I can't understand what you're saying. But,
freedom.
right.
Should I sing it again?
No, it's okay.
Okay, so today we're talking about financial freedom. And like, that's such a wide range of things.
Yeah.
So babe, when we're talking about financial freedom, what does that look like in our situation?
Yeah, so we have a few very practical things that I think we can talk about just real quick in the next few minutes. The first one being that financial freedom for us means being totally 100% debt-free, including our mortgage, which I know is a big thing for a lot of people.
Right.
And full disclosure, we are not totally debt-free now because we do still have a mortgage.
Payment.
But other than our mortgage, we are totally debt-free.
Correct.
By the grace of God, it's amazing. It's allowed us to, open so many other doors and so many other opportunities. But when we talk about being debt-free, including our mortgage, we'll just give you a couple practical tips that have worked for us. We got some very wise counsel before we bought the house that we're in from a good friend of ours.
Yes.
Who said, hey, what are the terms of this mortgage that you're getting? And so we told him, hey, 30 years, and this is our interest rate. And we were so excited about the interest rate, and it's so low. And he said, and he's just looking at us like,
he's shaking his head.
Like, what are you talking about? That's a great interest rate. Right. He's like, I don't care about the interest rate. He's like, if you can afford it, I want to tell you with as much love as I can, go with a 15-year mortgage. And we're like, but we'll make extra payments. And
double payments.
And he's like, something will come up, and you will not end up making those extra payments consistently, and then you will end up paying thousands, tens of thousands, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars extra in interest, because you'll be under this shadow of debt for 30 years as opposed to 15 years.
Right.
So after talking and praying and looking at the numbers, we said, okay, we're gonna go with a 15-year mortgage. Which obviously that raised our monthly principal payment quite a bit. But Our interest rate actually went lower because of a shorter term on our mortgage. And the amount of money that we're going to save over the life of this loan, again, hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's well worth it. And what we've noticed in that time is that, our budget is we've adjusted our budget to be able to not only pay that extra in principal because of going 15 as opposed to 30, but we've also been able to carve out a way to pay more towards our principal. So instead of having a 15-year mortgage now, our goal is to be down under 10 years, So by the time, our kids are ready to go off to college and we'll have extra expenses there, we'll be totally mortgage free.
Debt free at that point.
Yeah, and be debt free altogether, 100%. And the thing that I love about that, because there's a verse in the Bible that talks about this in Proverbs, which is written by, the wisest man ever to live, King Solomon. And in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7, it says, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender."
Right.
And I know that that's pretty vivid imagery when we talk about being a slave, but that is literally what debt does. Debt puts us all under, we owe somebody something. We have to work that off now. That person is over top of us. So the borrower is truly slave to the lender.
Right. And it just gives me, you talked about that vivid, and so when a slave gets set free, imagine that big sigh of relief that you can have, that deep breath to know, I owe no one anything.
Yeah. I'm completely free
I'm
now.
completely free now. That's amazing. You talked about that imagery, and that's what popped up into my mind. That's awesome.
And so as much as the next person, we love to have nice things, but we decided as a family, as a couple, that we are not willing to go into debt to get nice things. Because there's a big deal, or there's a big difference, I should say, between us having nice stuff or our stuff having us. And if your stuff has you to the point where you have to go into debt and now you are under this financial slavery to the lender or to the credit card company, there's a big problem there. Stuff is meant to be used, it's meant to be enjoyed, but it's not meant to be our God, it's not meant to be our master.
Right. So in our last video, Sacrifice, we talked a little bit about that, of making sure, if you want something, you're saving for it and saying no to something now so you can say yes to something later. So that was
something
really
even
helpful.
better later.
Even better, yeah. So for us, a fun, situation. You guys know, if you've been following us right now, we're on this journey of Thomas not officially having a job, but
Thanks for reminding me.
But we were able to say yes to him, God, right, the big H, because we could say no to this now. And why could we do that? Because we have that financial freedom to be able to say, yes, God, we're going to follow you. And we have that ability because we're not tons of thousands of dollars, of hundreds of thousands. Some people write so much that we can't say yes to you, God. You want us to do this marriage thing? We don't even know how we're going to do it, but you want us to do it. So yes to you. And we're going to push everything else aside for right now. Yeah, and I think another big thing, so that's just another way, another practical way of how we look at what financial freedom actually looks like in our lives. Practically in our lives is, saying. And one of the things that I look at all the time, especially as a husband, as a father, I know there's a lot of things that God calls me to and a lot of things that I know God's will for my life would be. But the number one thing God calls me to in this life, it's the one thing that I can't be replaced at, is being Jen's husband and being Macy and Trey's father. Right.
I can be replaced as an employee. I can be replaced as a friend even to some people.
Right.
They'll move on. They'll find something else. The show will go on and business will continue as usual in every other case except for as a husband and father. And so when we talk about financial freedom, I don't want to be so tied down to payments and this, a lifestyle that we build that's as long as everything goes right and nobody gets sick, we can afford this. Technically on paper, we can afford this mortgage payment, or we can afford this car payment, or we can, as long as everything goes right. Well, guess what? Life happens and things get in the way. But at the same time, I don't want to miss out on opportunities to spend with my family. If our kids have a field trip, I want to be able to go to that. I don't want to have to say, oh, sorry, Trey, I can't come to your game tonight because, that toy that I bought you, or that, car that we're driving that's so nice. Yeah, I got to go to work for 60 hours this week to be able to pay for that.
Yeah, or even more, some people, being that, I have to work overtime, so I have to work at nighttime, so I'm not going to be able to make the big game. Sorry, pal.
Yeah, so... we talk about being financially free so that we don't have to tell God no to things. God is calling you, men, to be a husband and a father and disciple your wife, love her, lead her, cherish her, respect her. He's calling you to raise up your children. And part of that is being there with your time, with your presence, being fully engaged, not being stressed out about the bills, not having to work so many hours of overtime just to afford this lifestyle.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, when those kids grow up and your marriage develops and matures, and you look back someday, hopefully it's your 50th wedding anniversary, nobody is going to care about the boat or the cars, or even the trips for the most part. What your kids are going to remember, and I can speak from experience, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but I remember my dad coming home from work every day at a good time and just playing basketball with me out in the front, or going out in the woods and building forts and riding bike trails or whatever it is. Time is what matters. And if we are a slave to debt and a slave to our bills, we will not be able to do that.
No, you're not going to have time for the things that you love. And again, it's that sacrifice bit. Like, absolutely. Like, you can't have that freedom. That's not going to happen. Absolutely. So, another way of financial freedom that we've had to sit down and look at, like, okay, so when our 50th anniversary comes, when that time comes, where do we see ourselves in that part of our lives? Like, are we going to live with our kids and possibly be a financial burden to them? Right. Where do we kind of see ourselves? And so we started putting away 15% of our income towards retirement. So what that would look like with compound interest and everything is having enough money so when we're older, 50th anniversary, 60th, whatever, God willing, right? That we can, I don't want to say move into a home, but move to whatever.
Just be financially free in our retirement years.
What do we want to do?
Because so many people depend on the government, to take care of them through Social Security or whatever. And we've had economics teachers in college and other people that we look up to who are way smarter at finances than we are that said, hey, your generation, you may not be able to depend on Social Security. Who knows if it'll even be around when you're not. So if you get that, that'll be great. That's just icing on the cake.
Right.
But don't depend on anybody else to take care of you in your financial years. And certainly don't depend on your kids. Listen, when it comes to taking care of us physically as far as our health goes, and hopefully we'll do a good enough job raising our kids that they'll want to care for us. And we look at that, if we would be blessed to be able to be there for our parents and take care of them, health-wise and all that stuff. But financially, we don't want our kids someday to have to be like, oh man, mom and dad were so irresponsible with their money that now they can't even afford to get to the doctor, or they can't afford it. We want to be, listen, as wealthy as God wants to, as much wealth as God wants to give us, that's great. But we have to be intentional now about using the time that's on our side between now and retirement of putting aside, like Jen said, 15% is the number that we've settled on. It could be more than that if you want to do that. But
if you can start at something tiny, just put something away.
Yeah, something is better than nothing.
Something is better than nothing.
When we sign off on our last day of work, whatever that is, we know that we can retire with a peace of mind and with financial freedom.
And that goes back to being slave to the lender. Like, there are some people who choose not to retire because they like to work and they have a good time, they need to be out. But there are some people who actually, they're retiring from their main job, but they have to get another job to pay off the debt because they still have tons of debt. And you should be living your best life, spending time with grandkids, maybe going places with your friends, whatever. But you have to work at 80-something years old. We just, take a step back now. If you're not married, if you're single, and you can start this now. You don't have to be with somebody to start saving for retirement. You don't have, start making those decisions now so that if you eventually get with somebody, you guys can be on the same page. Hey, this is what I've been saving, blah, blah, blah. So that's not a we thing. That's you if you're by yourself. Please start saving for retirement as soon as possible. Yeah,
and we won't get into the specifics of how you should say. We're not financial experts, we're not financial advisors. You can find a good financial advisor, particularly in our case, we have a Christian Bible-based financial advisor that kind of helps us with our retirement stuff. But one of the best tips that I've ever gotten when it comes to saving for retirement is just automate it. Make sure that it comes out automatically out of your paycheck, whether it's monthly or every other week, however you get paid. Take it off before we ever see it, because if you try to, I know I've heard it said like this before, pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. Get that retirement out of there. And for us, our giving and our saving for retirement, that comes out first. We never see it again. So it's not like, if you wait till the end of the month and try to to save what's left over,
Right.
there's never going to be enough left at the end of the month. So the things that matter to you most, you automate them, you put them at the beginning of the at the beginning of the paycheck rather than at the end of the paycheck, and just make sure that you do that. It's just a good way to get into that habit of making it, making it automatic, and then you won't forget to do it, or you won't run the risk of something else coming up that's more important.
That you need, right?
And man, I would tell you, just over the years, we started saving for retirement when we were young.
Early 20s.
Early to mid 20s, and to see the way that compound interest has worked in our favor.
Really awesome.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be looking good during retirement.
Yeah, well, I hope so, baby. Woo! It'll be great. It'll be great.
So that is where we will go ahead and end today, unless you got anything else.
No, I love it. I think just keeping those things in mind, being able to say yes to God and not having that burden of not being able to breathe because we're a slave to that lender. So just breaking those chains free and following God the way He would want us to.
That's
So
right.
I think that's great. It's kind of our little tie-up here. But guys, remember, if you felt this was helpful, if you were like, yes, this is awesome, LSS, like, share, and subscribe.
And as always, if you guys have any specific questions, you can either drop those in the comments below, or you can direct message us on Instagram.
Handle.
Right?
Handle.
Our username over there is imperfect_marriage. We'd love to just talk to as many people individually as we can and just kind of figure out, what's working with this channel, what's not working with this channel.
Yes, please, feedback.
We'll take as much feedback as we can get, or we'd love to just encourage you, pray with you, help you with whatever questions you've got, or listen to your advice or your ideas on what we could do a future video on. We're always looking for that as well.
Yes,
so we love you guys. We appreciate you taking some time to check this video out, and we will see you guys next time on Imperfect Marriage.
Have a good one. Bye, guys. We love you.